What's up? You're watching Poots Garage. This week, we gotta do some work on the XJ. We need to make some upgrades to make this thing more wheelable. And the mods we need to do are in this pile of parts on the ground here. You see I got a bunch of gears and stuff. We need to upgrade the gearing on this Cherokee. So I got a bunch of used junk that we're gonna throw in, but it should all be an upgrade. It's not exactly what I would do if I had a choice, but because the deal was so good, this is what we're gonna go with. So first off, we need to move the Cherokee a little bit and get it in a good spot to work on because it's a little far away. Alright, that wasn't very exciting, but we're gonna work on it, just right outside the door. My main goal today, and really just this weekend, is just to get it torn apart and really figure out what I need. I think I have probably everything I need, except I keep forgetting to order crush sleeves. I want to get new crush sleeves just so I don't have to worry about the bearing preloads and stuff like that, so I do need to order those up. Yeah, I don't even remember if those have crush sleeves front and rear, or just the front, or just, I don't know. So we're gonna pull it apart and find out. So a while back I picked up a bunch of extra parts. It was kind of a package deal, just a bunch of cheap stuff from a friend, but it's all aftermarket. So I already put the aftermarket front axle shafts in that one, but we are going to pull them back out because we got to redo the diffs and everything. But yeah, so I have aftermarket front shafts, and then I have these actual Yukon rear shafts. These will go in. The rest of this stuff is all just spare parts at this point, so I just kind of have some stock spare shafts if needed. From this pile of parts here, we actually have some wheel spacers. We're going to throw those in because I do need a little more wheel spacing on that to keep the tires out of rubbing so much stuff in there. So we'll throw these on. I think they're 1.5 inches. It'll make it look a lot better too, a lot wider. And then we have I got two Dana 30 front ends here. They both have 456 gears on them, but one set is bad. It's got a cracked gear, so I'm not going to use that one. The other one has a good set of gears on it, and it has an ARB front locker. Now, ARB wouldn't be my choice just because I don't want to deal with the airlines and all the extra install stuff, but it was a good deal, and it came with it, and so we're going to put it in. I can't use what I have now because you got to do a different carrier brake. I guess I could use this and then throw my lunchbox into this carrier here and use it, but that's just going to be stronger all the way around anyways, so we'll get away from the lunchbox locker we currently have in it. And then there's a second set of wheel spacers. Those actually have different lug nut studs on them, so we can't use those to begin with, which is fine. I don't know if I actually measured the pattern on those or not, but it's just kind of whatever. All those studs are bent though too, which is kind of crazy. And then obviously we had a couple extra stock housing covers, which I don't really need because I have an aftermarket housing cover already in the rear. This here is a rear Detroit locker with 456 gears, so we'll be putting that in, and that'll replace our basically our welded rear diff that we have now, which is plenty strong, but you got to change the carrier to go to the better gears. So this is what we got to use, which will be perfectly fine. It'll actually help with drivability a little bit more to actually have a selectable front and then actually have a auto rear locker, so things will be a little better. And we do have some extra spare parts here, all the extra brake stuff, which I'll hang on to just in case I have a caliper hang up or something that needs to get replaced. I'll just throw one of these other ones on. I do have an extra set of brake lines, nice steel braided ones that I can use if I need to, but the ones I got in there now are fine. I had to order a bunch of parts. These are new parts for that ARB locker. This is the new seal housing because the one that's in there now is all tore up. So we got new housing, plus we had to buy some new fittings, which is, let's see, I got new seals. This here is a new fitting here, a little quick connect fitting. Hopefully that's gonna fix what I need. Oh yeah, and this is the whole kit for running the airline out of the diff. It's got this is the banjo bolt kit. It's got the quick fittings. It's got the piece that it's got thread into the housing itself. So that's what kind of sucks. I have to drill and tap the housing and all that stuff. So it's not fun, but a lot of extra install work I got to do. And then we got a new airline. Because the airline that was with it, I don't know if that's correct or not, but it's so brittle it just breaks. So New airline. We have some extra rotors that we don't really need. Some drilled ones, but I already have drilled ones in there, so we don't need to use those. Gear marking compound, but this should work out because these things all pretty much have good bearings, and I know the bearings that are in the front of the Jeep now are shot, so it'll be nice to get some of these better bearings back in there and get rid of some of the noise that's coming out of that front end currently. So on top of all this, these all came in axles too, which I can't entirely use. And these are all the spare axles I have. This is just a full factory front end that had that open diff with 456 gears. That's all good stuff. I'll hang on to this axle just in case I need another housing. This rear is an 8 1/4 that had the Detroit locker and 456 gears, and it had the Yukon axle shafts as well. This housing is junk, mainly because all the factory like leaf spring mounts and stuff have been cut off. It had a real janky 4-link setup welded onto it. It's pretty much junk, so I'll save a couple more parts off it and then throw that out. And then this is another Dana 30 front axle, which is also junk because all the factory stuff again has been all cut off and modified. So we'll rob a couple parts off of this and then throw this out as well. It does have this really weird, really interesting high steer kit. I don't know if this was a homemade deal or what. I don't think it was homemade. It might have been manufactured and somebody added a little bit more to it or something. I don't know. It's kind of janky though. It's already kind of weird and loose and doesn't seem to fit right. And I don't think we're going to use that. But we will, like, you know, cut off these tabs and just hang on to those for scrap parts later on down the road. So my main goal is to get this thing up on jack stands today and get the axles completely stripped down, get the wheels and tires off, get all the shafts out, drop out the carriers, remove the pinions, and just go to town and figure out exactly what we need to do and how we're going to attack this. Biggest thing is just get it tore apart so that I'm forced to have to put it back together. Otherwise, I'm going to keep procrastinating. You know how we do it, making progress. We got this thing hanging. Suspension's at full droop. Looks kind of cool like that, doesn't it? Kind of shows how much better those front control arm are with the drop brackets and everything. But I have severe death wobble in this thing. I can't go over like 35 miles an hour right now, so I definitely need to go through and like tighten everything up and double check my caster angles and anything else I can think of that would cause that. I am going to replace ball joints when we have it apart because those are toast. That might be a reason for it. I don't know, just anything else I can find that's really bad, then we'll replace it. So we'll be doing that. And then, man, I want that rear suspension to soften up a little bit. They droop out good, but man, they don't stuff very well. So maybe shackles. Maybe I need to change shackles, or I'm just gonna completely change out and go to like Chevy 63s. And then the other thing I want to do while we have this whole thing just being worked on is replace that cross member for the transmission transfer case, because as you can see, it is completely hammered on up there. That thing is flattened and smashed, and it's pushing the transmission up into the floor, and everything's kind of out of whack back there. So definitely want to get that taken care of too. And I have an extra one here. It's attached to a transmission transfer case that I kind of got for free. So appreciate that, Nick. Thank you. So I do have some spare parts, but yeah, that transfer case cross member, we'll beef that up a little bit. We'll add some metal to it so it doesn't smash like it did before. And I would actually like to add a few more, like some skid plates to it to kind of protect things front and back a little bit more. Nothing too crazy, I don't think, but just add a little protection. So at this point, pretty much pop covers off, get the oil draining, and then we can start pulling everything apart. That's the plan. Got the rear cover off, no big surprises. It's a little dirtier than I thought the oil would be, because that was fresh oil just a few months ago. Nothing really leaks on this, so whatever. But I know there's a lot of rust inside of these axles. You can see the pitting on the gear teeth and stuff like that. But these are 355 gears, and that is my welded diff, so it held up pretty good. So now as long as it all comes back out, we'll be good. Oh yeah, I do want to measure some stuff beforehand, measure my backlash, and I don't know, that's probably about it. Just backlash, just to see, I don't know, it probably doesn't matter. So we took the drive shaft off, took the brake drums off, so there's no drag on anything, and you can kind of see this thing is, it's pretty free flowing, which is not the best because there's probably barely any preload on any of the bearings, which is not ideal, but maybe just a little bit of weight to it. But it is pretty used, so, but it doesn't have a whole lot of backlash. I can barely, just to feel a normal amount of clunk clunk, which is good. This whole thing held up pretty good. Now I think about it, I should probably order some seals too. Just, I know I'm not gonna be nice to this, but I should order some seals and replace all that stuff if it's coming apart. Look at this weather, overcast. It's kind of nice. Getting out of summer here finally. It's kind of warm out here in the desert, but we got this back end taken apart completely. We got the carrier out, we got the pinion out, we are in pieces. So everything looks pretty good. I'll do kind of minimal cleaning on everything. I'm probably gonna take out the front seal so I can inspect the bearing. Probably won't do the axle seals, honestly. I mean, this axle's not gonna live in here forever. I got plans for 1 tons and all that crazy stuff, so if it leaks, no big deal. But since I gotta pop out the front seal because I want to check out the front bearing, then yeah, I'll do a pinion seal. Everything looks pretty good. We are pretty much ready to slap everything back in. The rear should be fairly easy. I do need to get the crush sleeve. So that little ring right there, that's your crush sleeve there. So when you tighten down your pinion nut, as that sleeve crushes, that's what sets your bearing preload, because your bearing over here is set, it's adjusted by shims behind it, but then as that outer bearing crushes that sleeve, that's how you set your bearing preload. And if it's already crushed too far, I can't reuse it. I don't want to put that on a new gear, so you should really replace that if needed. So we'll order one of those or find one. I know I'm probably not doing things 100%. I'm going to be reusing bearings and different things and kind of mismatching stuff. So as long as these front races are good, I'm not going to replace those. If that front bearing up there that's still in there is good, then I'm not going to replace that. Probably should at least take this bearing if it's good and put it on the new pinion so I'm not mix matching bearing in a race. So at least they're all still happy. So we'll see. We're just gonna kind of throw this thing together and see what come up with. We'll do the gear pattern. We'll make sure our backlash is correct and stuff like that. We'll get as good as we can, but in the end, it's just a wheeler, and it's not a freeway vehicle. I don't care about longevity, and like I said, this thing's probably gonna get 1 ton swapped and go kind of crazy, you know, probably in the next year or so, as long as I can keep the chassis together and I don't want to just start over. But I think we're pretty much done in the rear here. I'm gonna stuff some rags and things to keep sand from blowing and whatnot. So I was just getting underneath the front end here to start looking at what I need to do, and figured I better slow down and start looking things over real close just to see if I can see anything that's really like loose that's bad. This isn't bad, that's just normal. But I did notice a few kind of critical things that we're definitely gonna have to take care of now. So for one, my steering box. The frame is starting to crack where the steering box is, and that's super common. So it's good to catch it now before, say, all my steering box bolts rip out and I lose the whole steering box. So it's good to catch it there. So we're definitely getting some flex there. So we're gonna need to do the reinforcement for that. Kind of crappy, but it's stuff that needs to get done regardless. And then the other thing I noticed was right here, this lower control arm mount. I don't know if it'll zoom in close enough, but if you notice along the top of that weld, it's cracking. And so it's a lot of flex going on right there. So I think the weld is starting to crack along that bracket. And then you can see like there's paint flaking on this edge here where this metal is probably flexing. And then same with down here on this weld down here. So I'm gonna need to go through and reinforce this entire bracket and then kind of re-weld some stuff. But yeah, it definitely seems like things are starting to crack and flex, which is expected, especially with all these factory brackets. They're relatively thin. I think this track bar mount is known to break off, so I should probably try to beef up something on that too while we're in here. Frame end, I don't know. This is pretty rigid, but I think the factory stuff is pretty weak as well. So I don't know. We'll see. We gotta do some work in here, it looks like. For now, I just need to get this tie rod out of the way and get this front end stripped down. front diff. I know this one has issues. The fluid came out a lot cleaner than the rear, but you probably can't tell, but in the bottom there's quite a bit of glitter, and I know that because I know this side bearing is bad. So that bearing is slowly deteriorating. It's actually in better shape than I thought it would be. I thought this whole front end would be full of glitter, but it's really not that bad, honestly. I'm kind of surprised, so good. I'm happy it's not. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all getting rebuilt anyways, but not as bad as I thought it'd be. And we are all apart. We got a pile of parts here, so I'm just kind of putting some rags and everything so I can leave it overnight and figure out where we're going from here, because I got a lot of stuff to do.